Well, hello. This is Cindy with Love to Scrap for Fun. I'm here to show you um, my latest creation I've been working on. It is a 9x6 with a 2.5-inch spine. This is a fabric covered journal. I had slow stitched pieces of lavender slash violet different fabrics together. These are all hand stitched with embroidery thread. I did embroider this part right here, all these hearts and flowers and a bunch of French knots. I did hand sew this trim around the entire perimeter of this, and I hand stitched some sequins in different places, and I added some vintage lace that came off of a vintage doily. And I cut, this was on a tablecloth, and I cut this butterfly out, and I adhered that one with Fabri-Tac. I sewed on some buttons for added interest. There are 3 signatures, and I did add beaded signature ties. And on these ties, they can come out like a little bunny tail out from the bottom. There's little butterflies with flat back pearls and some beads here on those 3. You can also take these signature ties, they're long enough where you can put them over the top as well if you wish. So on the inside, this inside, it is made with a cereal box type cardboard, and there's lots of layers. There's a layer of the padded envelope, shipping envelope. And there is, when I embroidered this, I put a layer of polyester fiber fill, like quilting fiber. A layer of that is under this also. And it makes a nice squishy sound because of the padded envelope that I sandwiched in between that. And then I added cardstock for the covered the inside cover with the cardstock of the Chateau design paper, which is really pretty. I didn't want to put a pocket. That was my dog coughing, sorry. I didn't want to put a pocket or anything because the vintage look is just so pretty. I really like it. And it's the same on the back. I did add a piece of fabric. It's a type of a upholstery fabric right there, just to give it extra sturdiness. And I put an elastic wide band elastic right there for a pen. I will include the pen with this journal. It's a lavender gel pen. And here's a pretty collage page that has some embossing on it, and I added a fabric ruffle. And there's a butterfly paper clip here. And this is my handmade bookmarker tag. It's got some words, and I fussy cut some butterflies, and I added some scrap pieces of lavender dyed lined paper on the back for journaling spots. And I used lavender purplish thread throughout this whole journal. You'll see that I used a lot of machine stitching, like around here, around some of the pages, and the tags and the journal cards, they're all machine stitched. And here is a coffee dyed statement paper, just for interest. Add your little notes to, or whatever you want to do with it. And this is a calendar that I doubled up and made into a pocket. And you could see I machine stitched the sides. And I chose like some lavender colored flowers from the calendar. And I inserted a piece of cardstock and put a tab on it just to put it in the middle there for you. And there is just some lavender, dark lavender cardstock on that page. And this is a nice stationery envelope I picked up at a thrift store, and I added a piece of cardstock to go inside of it, make it nice and sturdy. You can use it as a photo mat or a journal to journal on, whatever you want to do. And there's this beautiful fabric that I had got from Amore Fabrics, and I used this as a pocket. I stitched around it with the purple thread and glued it on there for a little corner pocket. And I've got a coffee dyed receipt there and a journal card. And I machine stitched and put some this is from some applique off of a doily that I added on there. And this is a vintage envelope, and there's a vintage letter from somebody from, the date on here is like 1902. This is not original, it's just a copy. And I edge inked the edges with Tim Holtz, one of those colors that it's brown. This is a coffee dyed cardstock, and that side is, I just left it blank for your journaling, or you want to add whatever you want to. And there's some ledger paper, and here's some tea dyed pages, and here's some lavender dyed pages. Some have some lines on it. They're really pretty. And here is a piece of fabric from India. It's very thin, soft, silky, and someone had slip stitched it, two pieces of fabric together. This is a little pocket here, and I made a cluster and added just some ephemera in here. A little tag. And this is butterflies on this side. This is cardstock that I put in here. And here's another cluster that I put in there. And this is the first signature. And you can put this at the top if you wish. And this side I used some Tim Holtz cutout people and collaged right there. And here's the dyed papers. I've got plenty of papers in here for all your journaling, so it's very functional. And I did some stenciling here and there. Here's the other side of the calendar pocket. And here again is just some cardstock with a tab on it. And here is a journal card that I stitched around. It was actually printed out on regular paper, and I backed it on some cardstock, and then I added lined paper, and then I actually ran this through my Sizzix with a texture tablet. You could see the texture there with a texture, whatever you call it, folder. And there's some trim there, some lavender flower trim. And I included paper clips, purple paper clips, of course. And you can see I Did some machine stitching. And here's the pocket. I've got a cluster on here, a really pretty cluster with some butterflies with flat back pearls, and I machine stitched across it, put some lavender buttons, and just layered it with a bunch of goodies. And here is a journal card that I made and put collage on it. And here's a tag that I created. And this has a metal eyelet and fibers. And here's some ephemera from Tim Holt's collection. I'll try not to make this really long. I'll try to go as fast as I can. And here's some stationery with some violet covered roses and some more lavender dyed pages. And here's a color page. Here's a smaller ledger. And here is some resume paper, and I stenciled on that. And here's just a word page from a book. And here's some lined paper. And here's a bunch of notebook lined paper. And here is a page out of a book about flowers and flower gardens that I included in this. And here's a little tuck here with some ephemera and a little side tuck there with some more journal cards, ephemera. And this is actually an envelope, and inside the envelope I just added a page from a planner. It's double-sided. I just put it in that little opening right here. And then I've got a cluster right here on a top of a doily, and this is the middle of the second signature. And you can see this one has a key charm at the bottom, and you can actually put that up there. And there's some more of the people cutouts, Tim Holtz cutouts, and I fussy cut this butterfly and put it right there. And some pages from the book. And here's all the lined paper. And this is papers. Resume paper that's stenciled on the other side of that little ledger. And the other side of the color page. And here's the lavender dyed papers. On the other side of the stationery has some lavender flowers in the background. You may not be able to pick it up on the camera. Here's the pocket with a journal card and another journal card with some lines and a Tim Holtz ephemera, the specimens of handwriting. And there's another ruffled lavender flowers. And here's some more of those people sitting there. I thought it was appropriate they're sitting down because this cardstock has some antique chairs on it. And this doily here, I've got a really pretty cluster right there. And this has a big tag. And you can see I used a Sizzix embossed folder and put some butterflies, embossed some butterflies on this. Then I added some words. And there's just some ephemera there, like a library card. And I added a butterfly on the other side of that doily. This is beautiful vellum that has a lavender rose and some newsprint. It's really pretty. I put it against this. This is kind of a purple divider from a manila file. And this is a little sack, little white sack that I decorated up, and I put some Tim Holtz tags in here, and this made a little tuck there. And on the top of it is a bookmarker tag that I created. Added some trim, and here's a little pocket with a couple little tags. And here's a digital print page and some resume paper and a bunch of lined paper for all your writing, journaling. And here's a little tuck here. There's another purple paper clip. And I've got some ephemera here. And here's another cluster with a button and a wooden arrow and a little bingo card. And there's some book pages from a German book, all written in German. And I don't speak German, so I have no idea what it says. And here is a tag, an embellished tag with some lines on the back for writing. And here is a piece of fabric. And here's a page from a book I have on birds. There's the other part of the bird page over here. And this is just some cardstock I made into some pockets. There's a couple of some gentlemen there, vintage gentlemen with a little ticket right there. And I've got another journal card with embellished with words and machine stitching. And here's a couple of little note folders that have lavender flowers on them. I think those are grapes on that one. Here's a Tim Holtz bingo card from his ephemera pack, one of his packs. Here's a tag that I did. A ruffled fabric right there. And I put a little door here. This is, I printed that off after I purchased the door set from My Porch Prints. And here's a sketch of the bird, and it tells you what it is there. And the other side of that fabric. And this one is like, here, some of the ladies from the Tim Holtz paper doll things. And here's the vintage envelope. This is Paris. I've got a piece of stationery in there. Just stick that right behind them. And this is a little window envelope. It opens at the top, and this is a transparency. So you could do whatever you want with the transparency or add anything you want into that pocket. There's some more lined pages and resume paper that I stenciled. Lots of writing spaces. And here's the other side of that white paper sack. I've got a scripture on there. And I made a little mini notebook with some more lined papers. I added a button to the top of the pamphlet stitch. And here's another butterfly paper clip and a journal card with the embossed butterflies on it. It says, "Today is full of possibilities." And here's the other side of that beautiful vellum. And here's the doily. There's a punched butterfly with some little flat back pearls. I even doubled it, so if you put his wings up like that, it looks like he's fluttering. And there's another cluster I made. And here's some more people sitting on some chairs. And I've got some stationery here that folds out. And a journal card of a Victorian lady with a pretty hat on. And here's a tag. And that is it. That is the junk journal, lavender themed with butterflies and flowers. And I will be listing it in my Etsy shop. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.